Hey everybody, Jay Barino here. Thanks for joining me today for a game of Direct Strike. We randomed into Nova this time. Have I played as Nova before? I feel like I have at least once. I don't know. I don't actually know. I forget which games I've played not recording and which games I played recording. Cool. So our third teammate is left. So it's just me. And Arco Slippy. Okay. Well, let's see how it goes. And you may or may not actually be at a disadvantage. It's really hard to say. Okay, and we're also against Alarak. Alarak, I mean, the thing with Nova against Alarak, interestingly enough, is you can actually do really, really, really good work against Alarak as Nova with just Marines. The problem is, again, because it's 2 versus 3, we just kind of have to spam. We just have to spam a lot of units. And I might start with Marines, specifically because that'll be okay against Tychus, but not great. Just spread them out. So that might be the only thing to do here, is just spread out Marines, and we don't want them all getting hit by Tychus's grenade. I really hate this. I hate this start. We do have a Swan partner, which I think is a good sign. Swan is an excellent partner to have, if you ask me. Look at him go. He took the middle. And again, Marines will overwhelm Alarak. The problem is, I don't really have anything that is good against both Alarak and Tychus. Perhaps Banshees. Yeah, go ahead, throw your grenade. We're winning our wave against him, but we will not. Well, we would also win against Alarak. And I think what we'd have to do is add Banshees to this mix. And that might, what that would do is it would force Tychus. It would force Tychus to have to do something. What would it force him to do? It would force Tychus to have to make Vega. And Swan isn't really obligated, I think at least, to and then we got the Han and Horner, who he's rushing something, but I don't know what. Oh jeez. I don't know if we could tempt fate by going air. But yeah, what I was saying was, like, Swan in general, like, he has rates which can be really good, but not in this matchup. So if we force a Vega, especially against a Blaze here. I'm making the Marines specifically for Alarak. We want to keep Alarak kind of on the back foot. We could also do Spec Ops Ghosts, which we could EMP with. Alternatively, Banshees would do better against, I think, Alarak in the long run. Okay, finish up Tychus. And yeah, the thing with Marines is they're just very cost-effective. Oh, wow. Okay, they're very cost-effective against Alarak early. And I think what we're going to do now is grab some covert Banshees and then eventually Goliaths and Siege Tanks. Again, you make the Banshees for as long as it takes them to start reacting to them, at which point they're not going to be very worthwhile anymore. We're winning the middle, but now we see Asteria Wraiths. Unfortunately, I can't sell this now. It's too late. Asteria Wraiths are such a pain in the ass. They are so irritating. Research complete. And our teammate, quote, won that wave, but by letting all the Asteria Wraiths through. Okay, so next we're going to need Goliaths. And she can now cloak, fine. I don't think there's even much of a point in allowing the Banshees to cloak, just because Tychus has Nakara, which is a good sign for us. I'm a big fan of when the Tychus makes Nakara. Our bunker's already down. That's too bad. Did you vomit out your... Yeah, I like when the Banshees shoot that... It's like it, like, bleh, just like vomits it out. I'm a big fan of it. Sometimes they just don't do it, which is frustrating. Okay, siege tanks also probably wouldn't be bad against Alarak. Spec Ops Ghosts, again, and if they're not reacting to the covert Banshees, I think we keep making those as well. We kind of need a spread of units just based on this situation. Okay, I am going to grab my next gas just in case. I mean, either this is going to end really quick, and I think one extra gas wouldn't have made a huge difference, or it's going to end... Vomit out your stuff. Blech. Or we can prolong it. If it's gonna end fast, then that's fine. I'll be just a little bit greedy, but otherwise, you know, we gotta kind of plan for the future. I'm gonna grab another covert Banshee. They are surviving for pretty long, and we're doing a lot better against the Asteria Wraiths just because the enemy keeps building corner units against a Swan who has Goliaths, which is just absolutely killer there. Unfortunately, that kind of locks us out from making Liberators. Liberators would be excellent. They've done it. The absolute madmen. Against Tychus, if it's just one-on-one beat Tychus, you typically are going to want to... You're typically going to want to make Marauders, because the railgun munitions can just nuke down those heroes super fast. I'm going to grab just 2 tanks. Maybe even just 1 tank, just to kind of see how it does. We've also just spawned, so let's go ahead and throw down vehicle and ship level 1. Our Swan is doing a good job. He's building incrementally. He's not trying to, you know, spam up to tier 3 or anything like that. So this is kind of working. Getting to tier 3 so that we can level up our Goliaths to stun air units would be really good. We need tanks to kill the Vikings when they land. And as you can see, so now he's countering the Banshees, but that in turn keeps the Demos Vikings in the air, which means that we have a better opportunity to kill them later. The tanks kind of seem okay. They also seem kind of stupid. So we just get a couple of them, and then what I'm going to do is make pretty much Goliaths and maybe start mixing in some Spec Ops Ghosts. The thing is, Goliaths will lose to Tychus, especially because he's making Kev. But if he's focused on Marines, at least for a little bit of time, then, you know, we're in better shape. Okay, so we had some major leakage there. Again, maybe the tanks weren't the right tech switch choice. Hellbat Rangers could be okay, or just spamming more Marines at this point. Hellbat Rangers can stun, but they won't stun Tychus. So that's obviously a major challenge that we're going to have. And now we've got Vanguards. This is where we would need Liberators, but we can't get Liberators because we're against a Horner. So that's a quick end to this one, unfortunately. Again, I don't regret my Banshees. I think I had a Sticker Brush Symphony remix play, and now I have normal Sticker Brush Symphony playing. Enjoy it. I mean, I could get Marauder Commandos anyway, or we just get more Marines. Nova Marines are just not very good. Very rarely would I recommend making them for pretty much any circumstance. Though, again, against Kev Rattlesnake West and pretty much everything Alarak makes, they're okay. Vomit it out. Blat. Blat. I manually cast it sometimes when I notice that they're not doing what I want them to do. So the tanks I made pretty much to exist to counter the Deimos Vikings when the Deimos Vikings are landed. So like now, the Deimos Vikings die very quickly when they're on the ground. And we get healed up. The warping is really irritating. I actually think we do make some more Marines. Just because they're absorbing anti-armor weaponry from the other enemies. We siege up here, we get a few good shots. We got actually some stacking siege tanks. Hollow decoys could actually be pretty good in this circumstance as well. Okay. They got our cannon, we got their cannon. And once these tanks siege up and we can start killing the Deimos Vikings on the ground, then our Swan buddy comes in and kills the leftover Wraiths. It's a weird one. I hope I don't regret making too many Marines, but again, I need them in the front. Again, they're very good against Alarak, surprisingly. Getting more tanks could be very good, as well as getting Spec Ops Ghosts for Tychus. It's unclear to me what Tychus is doing, because I haven't really seen any more heroes from him for a while. My Marines are clumping up, so the Vanguards are definitely going to kill them. Okay. It's tempting as it is to kind of push for the win. I'm going to grab a Refinery. And then I'm going to get... I think I'm going to then get some more units. Strike hard. And then I'm going to get +2 everything, and then get up to Tier 2. Getting graduated range on the heavy siege tanks would be really nice, too. See, just those 2 tanks, I think, was the right choice. Siege tanks are very good against Deimos Vikings if you can force them to land. So it all kind of works out. And the Marines actually laying the hurt on Tychus. We were able to overwhelm him quickly. He didn't make enough Kev Rattlesnake Wests. Everybody worth their salt knows you need more Kev Rattlesnake Wests. I'm going to go ahead and get some upgrades here. And I definitely saw us at a major disadvantage. The game is not over, and they could very easily come back and win. I saw us at a major disadvantage, though, earlier, simply because it's 3v2, and that means that you have 3 people that can counter your 2 people, as opposed to, you know, rather you can't counter one individual person. You just have to make like a menagerie of crap, and hope that it works. I'm going to upgrade my infantry. Okay, we're seeing some mines now on the ground. That's going to obliterate my infantry, unfortunately. So we need to focus more on Goliaths, and we need to focus more on tanks. And I think we make pretty much Goliath tank now. And because we still do hold the lead, their Tychus is kind of blowing it for them, as most Tychuses tend to do. So I'm going to use this opportunity to get to tier 2, or tier 3 rather, so that I can get +3 upgrades and I can get the graduating range on the tanks. It's a very expensive situation here. I think Mass Goliath tank will work excellently against these groups of units. The Banshees are still able to lay on a good amount of damage before they're killed. I think that's funny every time. The Hun and Horner is the main opposition at this point, and it's the mines specifically are going to cause a huge problem. But that's where our Swan comes into play. His Goliaths are just absolutely killer. Okay, here we go. As tempting as it is, like, I want Liberators, but I can't afford to get those. So I'm going to get these 2 upgrades. That's almost exclusively why I went tier 3, not for units, which is weird. Okay, and Blaze actually survives here. We did kill him at least. So the Han and Horner is able to push back when stacked with Tychus. Let's see how our ally does. Cyclone's actually quite good in this matchup, I think. To take out the Tychus heroes very fast with the Hellbats in the front. It's working. Look at him. And then we have to hold on versus Alarak. And in order to do that, again, we need Goliaths, we need Siege Tanks. I might even throw in some Hellbats, because that will stun most of what Alarak has left over. Do my units have passive? Oh, that was the super stim. I was like, what is happening here? Again, the only instance where I'm probably going to make Marines against... make Nova Marines is going to be against Dahaka Mutalisks and against... Who are we against right now? And against Alarak, because they're very cost-effective against Alarak, but virtually no one else. And that's because Alarak has specifically no early game answer to them. And you'll notice... The Deimos Vikings, they stay in the air as long as there's something flying. So it's all coming at Millhouse now. I think their Tychus got a little greedy. Their Tychus went to tier 3, and I know that because he has the Blaze upgrade, and the Blaze upgrade requires tier 3. The one where the Hardened Shield that he gets requires tier 3. All right, let's nuke down Alarak. We're able to stun air units now with our Goliaths. And I think I now need just more Goliaths and Marines in the front. Let's let's get 2 more tanks, because they're obviously helping. And we're relying very heavily on our Swan, because we would definitely have lost to this... yeah, we would have been against the Horner. Well, if I would have been against Horner, I would have made more Goliaths in the first place, but... It's an interesting one, so we can come in and we can clean up Horner. There we go, and then unfortunately we have to unsiege. Our Marines are what are going to lay on the hurt on Blaze. You know, honestly, Marauders might be okay here. I typically do not make Marauders. I don't like this. We're going to lose all of our stuff, I think, to Kev Rattlesnake West, but that's why we're going to make more tanks. And then I think Goliaths, and then maybe some Marines in the back line so that they don't clump up as quickly.
Upgrade complete.
Okay, and let's upgrade our ship weapons. They're still not really countering my Banshees particularly well. I could definitely get more... I could probably get more Banshees, because again, they're not really being countered. And we may actually, if we can get through this Han and Horner wave with relative, not ease, but if we can kill it with some leftover units, we'll get some good damage in on the enemies here. You can see the Deimos Vikings have landed, which means that I think he's turned them off so that they don't lift off. Which actually just means they're going to get killed by my siege tanks faster. Alright, let's see how we do against... This, honestly, this Blaze just soaks up so much damage. That's where the Cyclones are really useful, because they do... Well, I'm trying to click on one. 24 damage, and Blaze can only reduce damage above 30. So, he's taking less from the siege tanks, for example. But the Cyclones do very good against him. Laid some more damage on their main production structure there. Ooh, okay. Marauders with mag rail munitions could be okay. I'm sort of expecting to see some more mines from Han and Horner. I thought I just saw one shoot there, but I guess not. And this looks like it. Come on, tanks! Yes! That was a solid 2 versus 3. I don't want to take super credit or anything. It's more that... I mean, their Tychus did okay damage-wise, and, you know, both my ally and I came in really hot on this one. We both did really well. But in my experience, in a 3 versus 3, 2 versus 3, 2... any sort of matchup, your Tychus will definitely make or break your team. Very rarely do you have a Tychus who's just competent enough to get you through the game. They're either going to just do god-awful, or they know what they're doing and will be able to hold on, unless they're in a very, like, a particularly bad matchup. Like against Dahaka, for example. Dahaka counters Tychus very, very well, and you have to do something very explicit with Tychus in order to survive. So, I don't know. I'm kind of surprised at this one, but yeah, it went okay. Thanks everyone for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye now.